Good morning, everyone. It's Harold Leishman here, one of the founding partners of LLC Private Wealth and a senior investment advisor with CG Wealth Management. Today, we're going to take a close look at Atlas Engineered Products. Here's our data set on the company. As many of you know, we rank companies using 15 different metrics. If any of you have interest in seeing what we're following or how our process works, feel free to drop us a line at llc@cgf.com. We're always happy to talk about small cap stocks with our existing clients or prospective new clients. Before we get in and speak with Hadi to get a view on the company, you can see revenues have been in decline here in conjunction with a slowdown in the housing market. However, the company was successful in raising $14 million at $1.35 a share in the last couple of weeks, greatly strengthening their balance sheet. So let's get online with Hadi and see if we can get a feel for where this company may be going in the future. All right, everyone, as we've talked about, we've got Hadi Abassi here, the CEO of Atlas Engineered Products, to talk about what's going on with his company. The purpose of this video is to provide an update for our clients and potentially new clients who might be long the stock or want to be long the stock to understand what they own and why. Now, Hadi, on a trailing 12-month basis, revenues are down about 17% year over year, and the EBIT is down almost 60%. How concerned should we be about these trends?
I wouldn't be concerned. I wasn't concerned. There is a couple of points. Number one is we get our numbers compared to, like every quarter, you get it to the last year's quarter. And we compare most of our numbers to 2001 and 2022 numbers. That it was the aftershock of the COVID and the real estate frenzy, 0% interest rate. The lumber price was 2.5 times what it is at the moment. So all the numbers were inflated. It was amazing years, but it wasn't a normal year in the construction. Then 2023 wasn't another normal year for us because we go from the hangover from the 2022 and the crazy bubble that was created, and it burst by overnight. It almost looked like overnight the interest rates went from 0 to 5%. And with the housing market, especially Ontario, British Columbia, and some part of Canada, with everything being $1 million and over, and at a 5% interest rate, that's at least a $5,000 increase on a monthly payment. So that's going to have some effect in the real estate. So you saw the result of it was 2023, that the market was very, very slow in our industry. The lumber price was low, so the revenue showed lower, and the margins, everything. It was a fight, and it still is. We still have to fight for the business out there. But we still, at the end of it, after the 12 months, we make good money. We make a good dollar value.
For sure. And I can see, yeah, you do remain profitable, which is something that is near and dear to our heart. Well, and you did that massive acquisition late last year, and we've yet to see those numbers really sort of show up on your top line and margins. So we'll definitely see how that looks on a go-forward basis. And then on top of that, you recently completed a $14.5 million financing at $1.35. It was a great financing for the company. There was no warrants attached, just a straight share. And part of my excitement for that, other than having you funded, is it really shows that the company or the stock has transitioned or is transitioning from a pure retail story to an institutional story. And those funds are primarily going to be used for building out automation at your 3 busiest locations, if I'm correct. Can you maybe talk about how that will affect the business on a go-forward basis in terms of your expectations and what we can hope to see in the financials going forward?
Yeah. First of all, the financing happened really fast. All of a sudden, in the space of 2 weeks or 10 days, it looked like it happened. But we've been working on that. Not the financing, but we've been working with some major institutional investors in Canada for the last almost 15, 16 months. And they've been doing their due diligence and watching our company on the sideline. And they are great investors to have. They are long-term institutional investors to have in your business. And it almost like becomes a bragging right to say we have this kind of investors as investors in our company. But they sure did their homework. They even made site visits with me a couple of times, and they looked at our factories. They've been checking our numbers quarter after quarter, everything. So with that coming along, then the robotics come along. And whenever you go into AI technology and robotics, there is a major domain that magic happens. It's called I don't know that I don't know. Anyway, that's my idea. Like every time I did a computer I saw, I learned so much the area I thought I knew it and I didn't know. So when we started the process with the robots and being the first one in Canada to actually make the commitment and do it and having the power to do it, we could have done it through a balance sheet and done it a good old fashioned budget this month, next month, 6 months, a year. Then we've seen in the last 6 months with the turnaround in activity in the construction. You will not see the results yet, but we see 12 months before everybody else is what's happening. Right now, everybody's talking about the slowdown. I can tell you we're coming out of a slow time and the results will show later on and people will talk about it. So I started to see those activities and knowing the labor issues we have in this country. We do not have the labor. That's number one. Number two, seeing how much the robots difference it makes in your business and you can do it faster. And all of a sudden this cash was available that it will speed up the robot process for us. It will speed up everything. And we add some major investors in our company and we're going to have a pile of cash in the bank. So there was all of those things. We decided, okay, let's go for this financing. It puts us in a total different powerful place. And with the investors we have and stuff, it puts us in a different position for later on if we ever made major steps or whatever we do in business. Because we are not going to just keep on growing slowly like this. There's one day you open your eyes and say, oh my goodness, this company's gone from this size to this size. It almost looks like overnight, but it's going to take about 10 years to get there, and we will be there pretty soon. So you see, nice. So it was all the stars were lining up at the moment. But Harold, honestly, like you see me before, I am so excited about it that I can wake up in the morning and I talk to some of the ops managers, and we don't have anxiety about labor. Like I was having this morning with some of our operation, that how can we deliver?
How much more efficient would your operation be, say in Nanaimo or New Brunswick, which are sort of some of your bigger operations, or I guess at Pacer, by adding automation? I know there's two types. You've said there's a semi-automatic and then there's a fully automatic. So what can we expect to see in terms of output or costs associated with your production?
Okay, so we're going to go with all three major businesses we have in three different parts of Canada. That's Maritime in New Brunswick, Ontario, and in British Columbia. We're going to go robotic in addition to what we have. We are not laying anybody up. We are not shutting anything down. This is additional manufacturing.
Right.
And the numbers are staggering. Basically, we double our outputs and we reduce our labor cost by 50%. And that is very, very conservative. It will be much better than that. Like there could be a point that I won't hesitate to say that we will have a return on investment after a year.
And do you think? Well, I mean, I assume, I shouldn't assume, but with the housing shortage and the government support, is there enough demand out there that you'd be able to fill that? I guess pricing becomes on your side if you're reducing costs by that much. It'll make you much more competitive. But could you fill sort of a doubling of the output at these facilities?
Absolutely, you could fill them. We have no idea, and people can imagine it. The eruption is going to happen in our industry with the demand, because it's not going away. It keeps adding up the demand for the housing shortage, keeps building up and building up, and sooner or later that will come. That will come, and that the demand is there. The demand is already there. In some of our operations, in two of them, we already booked up past September. And the demand is already there, that we can deal with it. And if it's not there, it's going to make us very competitive. And after all, we are in business. We are in construction business. And it's not a faint at the heart business. You need to be able to compete with competition. Competition is wonderful and healthy. And it trains you to work tougher and harder and smarter.
Of course. Now, what sort of timeline are we looking at? You've got the capital to start that. What are we looking at in terms of when we could expect to see some of these improvements at your facilities? I know it depends on whether you're starting from scratch or rebuilding. So
by next year we will have two operations by last quarter of next year, and the third one the year after, early quarter of 2026. Yeah.
Okay, so fully operational by the end of Q4 2025.
Absolutely, yeah.
and another one after that. So then it
Yeah.
would be 2026. You'd start to see the benefits from that in the
Yes, in the benefit.
right. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. And you mentioned sort of, lumber pricing is sort of one of your biggest inputs. I think in the past, I might have it wrong. You said it,
Yeah.
it can swing revenues by up to 30%, whether it's up or down. So that always makes reading, financial statements a little more challenging when you have to sort of to work that into it. And of course, labor costs are your other big input. Is there anything else out there that, and the labor costs you can control with the automation once you get it set up? Any other big variables in your expenses that investors should be aware
Not
of?
really. The big variable is we don't worry about the expenses and the lumber and the material because we pass on the cost. And
Right.
the way we manage our inventory and stuff, there is a vendor manage inventory. So we don't lose sleep on that and have to pre-buy it and future buys and stuff, that we've eliminated that risk from our business. That's the biggest risk in our business is the lumber, because 52% of your cost. And the lumber is a volatile industry, goes up and down. So we eliminated that right away there. And really, the biggest thing, my biggest worry at the moment isn't that stuff. My biggest worry is the moment the floodgate opens, how are we going to deliver it? Plus, the other one is being able, aside from the robotic manufacturing, fully automation, that we have the capability of doing and the cash power to do it, is the other one that is the amazing opportunity and organic growth for us is the wall panel. It's the pre-manufacturing, component manufacturing to deliver everything on the site. We've been going at it slowly and learning for surely and do it because we do not want to burn our reputation with our clients. And even if you notice, recently we picked up a major contract in the United States. And that's our other strategy. Right. Most of our facilities, we are on the border with the United States. We don't plan to go there yet to buy manufacturing facilities, but we plan to expand them huge into US manufacturing in Canada. And wall panel, pre-component manufacturing is one of the biggest growth potential for us that we are not dabbling anymore. We are doing, but we are being pretty careful not to kill ourselves because it's new for my people.
Right.
And
new process for construction, presumably, like it's a new manufacturing process.
Absolutely, and that is a huge one there to do this. So for us, when we wake up in the morning, it's like the eliminating risk and stuff doesn't exist. It's more of how do we meet the supply and the demand? How do we have the expertise? Do we have it? Like now I opened up the for one of our operations that is smaller. So I said, okay, let's go get some wall panel contract. So they come back from one client we have, usually give us a small multifamily builder. Usually gives you an order for $35,000 for trusses, organic growth, $35,000 for engineer floor. That order right now, it became $270,000 for us, the contract, because we added wall panels to it.
Right.
One client. That is the opportunity we see, but it's like a racehorse. We are holding back because we do not want to shoot ourselves in the foot. In construction, you better slow down. It's not a smoke. It's not a buffet dinner. Don't go and eat it all because it could kill you right away.
So you're managing client expectations, making sure you can deliver what you're promising.
Yeah, at the end of it, because we don't put up just two pieces of lumber together. We manufacture a pretty sophisticated structural engineered product. It's designed, engineered, and sealed. And it's a structural, very sophisticated product we manufacture. That's why there are not that many people wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to go in truss business or wall panel business. It's pretty skilled manufacturing we are doing. So you got to be careful how you do it.
Absolutely. So when do you think you would start to see, I guess this year, you'd start to see some of that wall panel business showing up in the revenue line? And historically, you guys break your revenue numbers down pretty well for trusses versus engineered wood products and floor panels. So I'm guessing there'll be a line item for wall panels or something like that, so we can kind of track that along.
You will see that.
Do each of your facilities then have the capacity to build wall panels?
At the moment, we are a majority of facility bar one, and then we are working overnight right now to make that happen too. We are working pretty fast to make that happen. Yeah.
Okay. So that could be a driver for growth for this year and next, while you wait for the automation to fully kick in.
That is huge. And even what we notice is even some of the areas we plan, the moment we set up the fully automation robotics and you say 50% labor, we already starting to look at the labor force and then train them into the wall panel business.
Right.
Because we still be shorter. And then, of course, there is robotic system in wall panel business that costs more money, and we are capable of doing that too there. So
you think you could be one of the larger building product suppliers in the country? Well,
I wouldn't put a building product, because building products, then you become lumber yards, drywall yards.
Sure.
We will be the largest component manufacturer in the country. Absolutely, not too far distant future. Absolutely.
Interesting. Awesome.
For the sake of not being arrogant about it.
Well, there's no point, there's no problem in stating your goals and objectives and being proud of it, right? So
absolutely.
I don't think I have any other questions. Any comments on the overall macro situation with the I mean, we don't want to talk about the government itself, but the government initiatives to help increase housing supply. Are you seeing that showing up anywhere, or is it just mostly talk right now?
It's noise. Like the interest rate, the one part makes the major impact was the last one. The interest rates went down quarter a point. That it looks like the pendulum's rate turning the other way. Right now, for the sake of not getting into, most of politicians, they're fighting with the survival, and they will tell you whatever you want to hear. And I can tell you, in my own experience right now, when it comes to robotics, you need to add to building, you need to do some minor addition and stuff there. The biggest holdback we have right now is dealing with all the local municipalities and getting over those hurdles, because
building permits.
It's not just that. Even asking a question, it takes you about 3 weeks to get an answer, blah, blah. So they want to fix it. They will go into the root of the thing rather than just talking cheap on the mic. So that's what happens there. We just keep on doing what we do, power and control what we have in power. I'm just happy that the interest rate turned around, because that gave a lot of developers and people hope that they are not going to be stupid enough to just keep it at 5%. There is in my opinion, there is 3.25% is acceptable. Money should not be free, but 3.25% acceptable rate that they can do it, and everybody's happy, and then it's a slow growth and a steady growth there. And rest, if you believe those noise, you're going to be in trouble.
Right. So interest rates are still the prime mover here in Canada. So we'll see how that goes and how long that takes to come down to a lower level.
It was great.
It was great. Well done. You don't want to disparage anybody, especially if you might need a permit or something to build a building.
No, I will be blackballed forever.
That's right. Hey, listen, thank you so much for taking the time to chat and update our clients, and really appreciate the time. We've been shareholders for a long time, as you know, and it's a story that is near and dear to our hearts. So
we will never let you down, Harold.
Perfect. Thank you, Hadi. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate it.
God bless you. You too. Bye-bye.
All the best. Goodbye.
Bye.